Hi everyone. So in today's video we'll be discussing about what is Git and what's the difference between Git and GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, etc. All right, so let's begin with what is Git. So Git is something that you install locally in your system. Like for example, this is your laptop, you install your Git. What's the use of Git? For example, I'm working on an app called as My App, where I've written a piece of code like print something like today's weather. And this has been deployed to production, and the app is available in Play Store and the iOS store as well. So now I see that there's a defect, some minor defect, like today's weather is I missed it, right? So is. So what I do is I change this to is, and then I redeploy it to the production server, like the iOS or Play Store. And then after a while I feel, okay, no, there's something else as well missing, which is today's weather is, for example, 30 degrees centigrade. Okay, so again this goes to the Play Store. I publish this and this goes to the Play Store. Now imagine that this is just some small changes that I'm doing on one line. There could be 1,000 files in an application, and there could be a lot many changes in each of the files of that application, right? So how will you keep track of these changes, whatever you have done? For example, you have done, this was the initial the first version of your app, and this is your version 10 of your app. You want to trace back and see what changes are done in the version 6, or what was the difference between version 6 and version 7, right? So how will you manage to do that? That is where Git comes into picture, and it's an amazing tool. What you do is you install Git in your laptop. For example, you're just working by yourself, you're a single developer and you're working by yourself. You install Git in your system, and now what you do is, with each change that you do git commit. What it does is, it takes, for example, you have 10 files, it takes like a snapshot of it at that moment. Okay, now for example, you may change to this particular file. I'll change the color. This particular file, you found a defect or something, so now again it will be 10 files itself, but this time this one will be the correct one, rectified one, which you made changes over here. And then again you do git commit. So again the git takes a snapshot of this particular files, these files. Now imagine that you have added a new file. For example, instead of the original 10 files, you have added one more file, right? And then this is a file plus file, that means you have added a new file. You do git commit again, and then the git takes a snapshot of this as well, right? So with each commit you get like a good map, like this is your first commit, then this is your second commit, this is your third commit, this is your fourth commit, the changes that you have done. For example, today's date is 1/1/2024, and you want to see the changes that you have done on 1st of January 2023. So you will know what changes are made in this 1 year through this git snapshot, which is over here. So git is something that you install online into your system, and it gives you a good track of whatever commits that you have made for the app that you are making. Now this is what git is, and there's a lot more into git. You can have like separate branches in that. There is a single repository, there are feature branches, you can create pull requests, but those things can be covered in a separate video. So at the moment, I hope you understood what a git is and what's the use of git. Now let's switch to what is GitHub, GitLab and Bitbucket. So imagine that you are working on a collaborative app called as our app, with some four developers in your team, you do the same thing, that you install git in your local, you commit your changes, but at the same time the commit is still in your local system itself. That is, this is your laptop, it's still in your laptop, but in order for other to see the changes, you have to push it to an extra layer, which is nothing but a server, and those server are nothing but GitHub. It could be GitHub, it could be GitLab, or it could be a Bitbucket as well, or it could be any other remote servers. So when you commit the changes through Git, it's in your system. You get all the history of all the commits that you have made, and then you push it to one of the remote repositories so that other developers can see what changes has been done through a URL, a repository URL on the browser. So this way the changes are not only in your system, but it's also somewhere in the server, so that the other team can also, the other developers in the team can also see the changes. So the root of these things, GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, is nothing but Git itself. That means whenever you open GitHub, you will see the exact same thing which is mentioned over here, the same pipeline. You will see all the commits. It's just, it's moved from your laptop to a remote repository so that the other developers can see what the changes are made. So it's the organization preference, that some organization prefer using GitHub, some prefer using GitLab, some prefer using Bitbucket. So there are some advantages and disadvantages of each, but I hope this was clear. What's the difference between a Git, and collectively what's the difference between Git and these three remote repositories? So if you liked the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.